do a good job of identifying where we're to match up the man. We came with the mindset of making PJ work for everything. And I thought our guys grew up tonight. I thought they really did. Difference in the game. I don't think it takes a rocket science. Free throws. There's a difference in the game.
Okay, if you got questions, please signal. Get a microphone to you.
Mike, you guys really turned them over in the first half, not as much in the second. What do you think happened?
I thought our defense was pretty good. I thought they did a much better job of attacking. So I thought our defense was really active. We deflected a lot of passes. I think we had like 18 deflections in the first half. And so that means that evidently they did a much better job of adjusting. But again, you go back, it's the free throw line. There's a big difference in the game. It's 15 out of 20. You win a lot of ball games like that.
Okay, Muhammad, go ahead.
Your team coming in on a 5-game losing streak, coming into one of the toughest places in the country. What were you all trying to get out of a game like this?
A win. I mean, you got anything else to that question? Were you really serious about that? I'll give it back to him. Were you serious about that? I mean, what were we trying to get? Well, we was trying to get consistency, I think, for 40 minutes. I think we played games where we played good for 20 minutes, 25 minutes. And so to elaborate on what you talked about, where we coming, we played to win.
I was wondering, what were you guys trying to learn from a game like this? Just something like
learn. Next question.
Mike, you mentioned this week that you weren't sure maybe some guys were hitting the wall on your team, but to come out the way you did in the first half, maybe where that energy came from. What was different today?
Guys come off the bench. I thought we mixed it up a little bit. You saw Desi play well. I thought Gabe gave us some energy, some blue collar working ethic. And then, of course, you had Mason coming off the bench, Adriel coming off the bench, giving us some quality minutes. And I thought you saw a better balance. Keyshawn Emery coming in. Reggie Cheney gave us some big minutes in the first half. But as I said, you got to do it for 40 minutes.
Coach, on your right down here.
Mike, did anything surprise you?
Welcome in. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our February 27th edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk. We're brought to you each and every day here on KDSJ 479 Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And we got a good show, but we came in with audio from last night's post-game press with Coach Mike Anderson following Arkansas. It was very disappointing 70-64 road loss at Rupp Arena to the Kentucky Wildcats, ranked 4th in the country, and didn't sound too excited. I thought at the end of the game, Demetrius, some very questionable calls there. I know of 4 of them, and I think I can think of one. Tyler Harrell gets the ball, dribbling back court. He's on the front court, dribbles the ball on the other side of half court. That's a backcourt violation. I saw Gabe Osaboin and Richards fighting for a ball, felt like it went off Richards. Then there was a blatant elbow thrown by Tyler Harrell to Isaiah Joe, and there was a walking violation on inbounds play from Hagens. And these were all crucial plays. They just can't happen. They just can't happen, Demetrius. Arkansas had every right to win that game, and I felt, they made some mistakes, as a young team does. They were kind of partial for Kentucky getting back in the game, but at the end of the game, felt like some of the officiating was highly, highly questionable, and you just can't do that in close games that, the opposing team on the road, you feel like they played well enough to win, don't you think?
No, I actually don't. I think they played the first half well enough to win, but
right.
I don't think they played a well enough game to really walk away with that W.
Right. They had 6 turnovers. You had 1 in the first half, 6 turnovers in the second, 7 for the game. But you did shoot a dismal percentage. I believe you went 9 out of 29 in the second half from the field, 5 out of 10, which you were 10 out of 20. Shot real well from the three-point range. Free throws, 15 out of 20. But there again, a difference. 22 out of 32. Kentucky made from the free throw line. So then again, the Wildcats made more than what you attempted. And, there's just some things, and Coach Anderson alluded to that in his press conference. But I want to get on to a real interesting, exciting show. The state basketball tournament, 6A, kicks off in Bentonville West High School today. And we'll be having the Democrat Gazette's high school editor, a guy that knows all about the 6A tournament. Chip Souser will be joining us at 1:15. We're going to talk about he and the boys and the girls. We're going to find out who are some of the big dogs that we're going to have to really pay attention to in this tournament. And then at 1:30, we're going to talk with Andrew Epperson. We'll get a take on Coach Neighbors and his ball club. They were able to get a winning taste in their mouth as they were able to get out of Sunday senior day, very victorious over Ole Miss. Moving into their remaining conference game, one that was postponed, I believe, playing the Missouri Tigers tomorrow night in Bud Walton Arena. So we'll talk to Andrew and also to get his take on some little 3A and 4A state action that's taking place this week. It's all things are pointing to, and we said we'd get into it, Demetrius, high school sports. But we're going to take a quick break. Let's get this thing started. Chip Souser, the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He's up next. It's on the Hill with Pat Jenkins. And before Chip, we also got audio from victorious coach John Calipari. We'll hear what Coach Cal has to say post-Arkansas. It's on the Hill. Back in a moment.
Figure it out, stay in the game. Second half, he was good. He had 3 one-handed rebounds. He's drifted that way, which cost him 3 rebounds. But he had 15, he could have had 18. I mean, he just reached with one hand and it got away. One of them, they got the ball on the baseline out. But, it's going to take him time to work through this. He has to work through it, not anybody else. He's got to figure it out. No mud wrestling. You're not good at it. You get thrown to the floor, you look bad, you look awkward. When he moves his feet and uses his length and reaches and goes and releases from being in a mud wrestling match and just go get balls, he's pretty good. EJ struggled today, so it was good that Nick played. Let me say this before we get started. Arkansas deserved to win the game. We fought in the second half and did enough to win the game. But you got to give them credit because those kids, they shot 50% from the 3. Now you have to understand the last 5 games they've shot about 25% from the 3. So they came in here and played. They also defended, they also fought. They drove the ball, they went to the rim. We just happened to make a run in the second half and beat them, but they deserved to win this game, but I'm happy for my team.
On the right with Darryl.
John, all the way back to the Bahamas, you talked about Tyler Hero's swagger. I wonder how does that impact the type of player he is, and does every team need someone like that?
Well, you do know he gave up like 25 points today in threes. He gave up like the first 11. So he had a great swagger going on defense. I walked out, I said, we can't win if you're getting scored on every time. He said, well, let somebody else guard the guy. That's okay, then you'll come out. You're not going to play another position, you come out. But, he made baskets when things broke down. We looked like we had never played against zone. It was like we're passing it and shooting the ball with 4 seconds to go in the zone. And again, let me say this, we have all those freshmen out there and we haven't played against zone that much. Second half, I thought we were much better. I couldn't get them to drive the ball. They think you're shooting 3 at their zone, so we'll shoot 3s. Drive the ball. And when they did that, we got better. But, he played well. He was 9 for 10 from the floor. He only shot 10 balls. I didn't know. I didn't know he had 29. I'm looking at this for the first time. Wow, 9 for 10. Probably should have shot more balls, huh?
Go with Kyle on the right.
Cal, he's made 52 out of his last 53.
Welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, coming to you live each and every day here on KDSJ 479. And today marks a very special time in the state of Arkansas high school basketball as the 6A state tournament kicks off today at Bentonville West High School. And we want to bring on a good friend and chief and editor at the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, Chip Souser. Chip, welcome to the Hill, my man.
Glad to be here, man. I'm not on the hill. I'm down in the valley, man. I'm over here in Centerton in the valley. I'm here at the 6A state tournament watching Van Buren girls against Bryant. First game of the day.
Talk about this tournament. A lot of talent. In particular, I want to hit on the girls 6A tournament. A lot of good.
Well,
Go ahead, Chip.
You are 100% correct about that. The girls this tournament, for not just top team. But you take a look, and I know that Pat, you and I have talked about this a lot. Marquisha Davis at Springdale. They're not going to be the best team in that tournament, but I don't know that there's a better player in this tournament than she is. She does things that you don't see other girls do. She rakes the ball off the backboard with one hand, brings it down, dribbles it up the court, can take it to the hole. She's a complete player. And Arkansas and Mike Neighbors, they got a heck of a player when they got her signed.
You and I talk about a lot of the big, the teams that we expect to be right there in the end as the weekend progresses on. Yeah, North Little Rocks, the Fayettevilles, the Bentonvilles, who I think is a surprise this year. Chip, where do you see this tournament going? I mean, pretty much Fayetteville and North Little Rock will be bumping heads in tomorrow's Thursday.
I know. They will, but Portsmouth Northside to me is the team to beat. They've only lost one game. They did lose to North Little Rock at North Little Rock, in which 2 or 3 of their players fouled out. I'm not saying home cooking. I'm just saying that's what happened. So I've known Richie Smith for over 20 years since I came to Arkansas in 1999. Anytime Richie says, and he said this before the season, I think we got a chance to be pretty good, you better listen. You better listen. You better watch. Because he's not a coach that says that unless he knows, and they are very, very good. They were at one time ranked in the top 15 in USA Today. So yeah. To me, they are the favorite. But North Little Rock's the one wearing that crown right now, and they are the one that gave Northside that one loss. So there you go.
Talking with Chip Salza, sports editor for the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, covers high school sports and does a great job. Chip, I want to talk about another team that I really keep an eye on, and she has a great program and it's really consistent, that being Conway. Coach Nance, has consistently always been one of those teams. Every other year it seems like she seems to slip in there and get the state championship. Talk about them and how dangerous can they be? To the north side, as they played 2 tough ones in the conference.
They did. I think, to me, Pat, the season broke down like this. I think in the West, there are 2 really good teams. Okay, we know that. We know Bentonville is really good. They're the number 1 seed. We know that. And we know that Fayetteville, Sasha Goforth is going to go wherever she wants to go. She's got offers from everybody,
right?
Including UConn, Oregon State. Everybody. We know they won it a couple of years ago, and then it takes a little drop. After that, there's no question about that. That's not any big secret. Let's take a look at the Central, man. There are 4 really good teams over there that could be, that you need to watch and don't sleep on them at all. And, last year, if you remember this, Fayetteville came in, defending champions. They were the team to beat. Right. That layoff, I think, last year hurt them. I think that hurt them. And they ended up, losing in the first round. Or to them, it was the second round, but it was their first game. So, that's something that you got to kind of look at that, too, is that layoff. And is that helpful or is it not helpful? Because I think you can see it both ways.
When you flip over to the boys 6A state tournament, also too kicking off today at Bentonville West High School, you look at teams like the Fayettevilles. Bryant's a team that I think has a really good chance to become state champions.
They
also
do.
too, you look at Bentonville, Conway's boys. This to me seems to be a side of the state tournament that hadn't been this way in many years, where there's about 4 to 6 teams that could really win this thing. How about yourself?
Pat, you take a look at that. Take a look at the 6 teams in the Central. Okay, do you want to play any of those 6? I mean, really? Really? Okay, so yeah, Bryant won the conference. They lost 1 conference game. That's it. They are a very good team. Northside played Bryant very, very close. Northside is the 4 seed. Okay, then you take a look at North Little Rock. They're like the 3 seed. Johnny Rock's team is going to, don't sleep on them.
Right.
Go ahead and sleep on them. And then you take a look at Conway for a long time, but they were ranked number 1 state.
Good
Which
point.
of those 6 teams do you want to play? I don't want to play any of them because any of them are capable. But you take a look at the West, and I think the West on the boys, just like the girls, I think there were 2 really good teams. One really, really good team, Fayetteville. I think Fayetteville will put as good as a team as anybody in this tournament on the floor. And we talked about this a little bit today in our podcast. I think the key for Fayetteville, okay, correct me if you don't think this is right, but I think the key to them and how long they're going to hang in it, how well they do, is Austin Garrett. I think
Right.
it comes down to him.
Good
And
point.
he is a tremendously talented player that if he's focused on what he's doing, he's a lockdown defender. He can do so much offensively. He can take it to the hole. He can pull up and shoot the three.
Right.
So I think Fayetteville, and I'm not saying he's the whole thing, but I'm just saying having him and having him play well puts Fayetteville at a different level.
When you look at Rogers, this is a program on the boys' side that hadn't had a lot of success in quite some time. You know, how big is it for this program? And we're not expecting them to stay long. Myself, you know, but talk about their program and the growth under a second-year coach there in that program.
Well, it's huge. I mean, Lamont Frazier came in; he had to completely change the culture over there. And if you don't know who Lamont Frazier is, he's a guy that plays football and basketball both at Missouri. He is as hard-nosed as they come. And so that's what he did at Rogers. He said, listen, we may not put as good of athletes 1 through 5 on the floor as some of these other schools, but we're going to be all up in your grill on defense. We're going to make you work really, really hard for every shot you get because anybody can do that. It all comes down to how hard and how willing are you to work hard at it. Well, the Rogers kids bought in. They were the 3 seed in the West. They're 18 games winner, and they're a team that if you are not ready for that, and you're not ready for that pressure defense they're going to play, they can cause you problems.
Talking with Chip Salza here on the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, sports editor with the Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Chip, if there's 2 players, give me one girl for the weekend and one guy in the 3 days that they'll be at Bentonville West. Who's that player going to be, in your opinion, on the girls 6A tournament, and who's the boys 6A MVP in your opinion?
Well, I'm partial to Marquisha Davis. She's my girl. I've been watching her since she's a sophomore. I know Springdale's they're not gonna be in the tournament long. If you have a chance to see one game, if you have to watch one game in this tournament, come watch her play. Come see her play. Again, they might not be around after that first game, but she could go off for 35, 40 points in that game, in a game. So I'm going to count her. Also, keep an eye on Sarah Berkshire, I don't know how exactly she pronounced it. I think it's Berkshire.
Yes.
At Northside. She's another really solid player, kind of flies under the radar a little bit. So kind of keep an eye on her. And, of course, Fayetteville, they're going to have Beck and they're going to have Goforth, and, they're quite fun to watch. But, Marquisha's my girl, so I'm gonna pump her anytime I get a chance to.
Absolutely.
She's my girl. Yep.
And who do you have on the boys' side?
On the boys' side, of course, Northside's going to have Jalen Williams. He's a tremendous player. I think, again, and Pat, I said this a while ago, Austin Garrett is as good a player as there will be on the floor in this tournament when he is focused, okay?
Absolutely.
And if he is on his game, if he's focused and not getting caught up in other things, which he has a tendency to do, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, okay?
Right.
He is as good a player as you'll see, and he does things on defense. He will lock you down, and there's things he can do on offense, too, that he may not put up the flashy numbers that a Colin Cooper will do or Isaiah Relaford, just the freshman Northside. But, the kid can really play, and I hope he's got it focused. If he does, Fayetteville will be here Saturday night, playing for 10 over 10 games.
Well, as always, Chip, love having your insight. You take care. I'll probably be making my way up to the state tournament here shortly, but as always, my man, thanks for taking time out on the Hill.
You bet, man. Anytime. Thanks, Pat.
All right. That was Chip Salza, sports editor at the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, covering the 6A state tournament, both the boys and girls side of things. Demetrius, I'm telling you, there's a lot of talent. I wrote down just here briefly before we get to our next guest, Andrew Epperson, to talk a little Razorback women's basketball. But when you look at it, Division I talent on the girls that I know of off the top of my head here, and I just wrote this down. Davis is going to Arkansas. Sasha Goforth has an Arkansas offer. She's a junior. Kariah Beck, Memphis and Mississippi State. She's a junior in the state of Arkansas. They're looking at her. Jersey Wolfenbarger has got an Arkansas offer. She's a sophomore. Amari Williams is a freshman at North Little Rock, has a UA offer. Kennedy Tucker has just committed and will be playing her collegiate ball at the University of North Carolina. She's at North Little Rock. She's a senior. And Marion Dowda is a sophomore at Bentonville High School. She has an Arkansas offer. So you talk about all the Division I talent. Then you look over at Jalen Williams, Colin Cooper, Jamari Relaford, Isaiah Relaford. You know, those type of guys, Austin Garrett. There's going to be a lot of talent. You're talking about the Clarity kid there at Conway. Just talent upon top of talent upon top of talent, which makes Ben Shanks also too is a young man at Bentonville High School. I'm telling you, Demetrius, this is going to be a tremendous 6A tournament. It starts today. Those that want to get out, it's at Bentonville West. I'm telling you, you'll enjoy the talent. All types of things will be going on in that gym. Be it young, be it old. It's just the stars of tomorrow. That's what we're all going to be seeing starting Wednesday. I mean, how excited would you are you to know that there's so much talent in the state of Arkansas on both sides, boys and girls.
It's great, but I think really what the question is, or I should say the answer is that I think with what you just said makes Arkansas a basketball state. So many times we have this conversation is, what is Arkansas? Are we a football state? Are we a baseball state? Are we a basketball state? And I really believe Arkansas is a basketball state.
Good points. Can't beat that. Well, we're going to step away and get us a real quick break. We're going back, and Arkansas, the 1994 National Championship squad will be honored this Saturday. And the last time back in 1994 that the Ole Miss Rebels came to Fayetteville, Arkansas, wasn't too good. And we're going to let you hear and see all the excitement in that magical season. That'll be our break, and then we'll come back and talk a little Razorback women's basketball with Andrew Epperson of the Democrat Gazette. It's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. Back in a bit.
You cannot relax. You can't celebrate when they've got the basketball. Pull-up shot, good.
Clint McDaniel's first bucket. It's 4-2. Fred Jonigan into the game for the Rebels. And took it away from him. McDaniel with a steal. Williamson on the break to Thurman. He laid it through.
Good handle of the break that time. Already.
Just flicked the ball away from the blind side. And Williamson on the offensive court answers from 5.
I mean, they're the second leading scoring team in the country. They're getting a lot of them off of those turnovers.
Williamson challenged Dean and took it home. Biggest lead for the Hogs. Couldn't get the roll. Stewart lost it on the floor back. Outlet to Thurman. One-on-one against Brim. Corliss Williamson and a foul. Forcing them to play at their pace, and the Rebels just don't look too comfortable. Crawford.
Oh, what a nice turnaround that was. Got it out in front of the rim.
Here's a steal by McDaniel. Thurman spots up for the 3.
Nice
Williamson. Foul, it'll count. McDaniel hits a 3. Beal comes out to get Stewart, who finds Beck. Open man, Thurman.
Well, that's like money in the bank, isn't it? Thurman from 12 feet on the baseline.
Beal's in trouble. Stewart took it away. Beck finds Thurman for 3.
Chalk it up.
Early in his sophomore year, you're already well over 100 3-point goals and 10 in this game, Scotty Thurman.
I'll tell you what, as good as that is, I think Dillard's probably going to break his record.
10 points, not 10 threes. Crawford fouled. Back. Stewart can hit a 3.
They are just awesome. I mean, it's incredible how they shoot that ball from beyond that 3-point arc.
6'9", 260-pound Dwight Stewart.
And I mean, you really can't focus on one guy. I mean, it's 8, 9 guys that can shoot out there.
Thurman lobs. Crawford jams. The two teams were tied at 5, and then Arkansas showed why it's the nation's #1 ranked team. At halftime, Arkansas leading Ole Miss by 20, 42-22.
Oh, good screen.
McDaniel open for the 3.
Oh, Williamson absolutely screened the Ole Miss man.
Beck faked Brim and arched it over Dean for 2.
Corey Beck very adept at taking that ball on the baseline. Not as good a shooter out front as some of the other. I don't think they've gone to a zone this entire basketball game. May have matched up once or twice. Williamson
shot it over David Dean. As easy as that. McDaniel in front. He was 1-on-2 though, so he wisely held it up. Thurman forced it and still got it.
Tough shot. Got it up, got it down. Scotty Thurman can beat you so many ways.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. It's our Wednesday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio. It's our February 27th edition of OTH here on KDSJ 479 Monday through Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. And real quick, before we get to our next guest, let's give a shout out to our sponsors. Corey Beck Custom Painting, also to Lindsay and Associates, the Baymont Hotel, and lastly, Locomotion. And now on to the main thing. We're going to bring in our good buddy to talk women's Razorback basketball, Andrew Epperson of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Drew, welcome back to OTH, my man.
Hey, Pat, it's always good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Let's get off into it. Coach Neighbors and that ball club were able to get off the losing snide Sunday versus Ole Miss. And, this 7-game stretch that they went through, a lot of close games. What's to come in this upcoming conference finale versus Missouri on Thursday, in your opinion?
Well, it's their last home game, so I'm assuming that they'll come out playing better. They lost to Missouri earlier in the season, so there might be a little bit of revenge on their minds going into this one. And then, like you said, they got off the losing streak with a nice win, so that could be a momentum builder. So Missouri at Texas A&M, then SEC tournament. I mean, this is put up or shut up time for them. No question about that.
When you look at this team, Drew, a lot of people throughout the year, a lot of those young ladies have stepped up. You lose Atiana Golden during that stretch, which I thought was really big for this ball club. But to get her back, when she gets back, now you're dealing with an injured Malika Monk. But still yet this team continues to, be in ball games week in and week out. Chelsea Dungy seems to be the one that has been the catalyst. Talk about that team as a whole and how have they grown through all these trials and tribulations this season?
Well, I think some of the negatives ended up being positives in certain ways. Like you talked about Golden, where it's like, having your backup point guard out, that really does hurt you as a whole. But it was good individually for Malika Monk because she was able to kind of get her confidence back and not worrying about somebody else getting subbed in when she's out there, when she makes a turnover or two. It's just the sports psychology part of it. She's thinking about the other person instead of worrying about herself. Well, with Golden out, she was able to kind of refine her game, refine what she had been doing in her entire career at Arkansas. So that actually helped in that situation. But Chelsea Dungy, man, we could talk about Chelsea Dungy. We could talk about her all day, all show,
absolutely.
All week. She can play the game of basketball. And next year, when you get Amber in there, when you get some posts in there, like you and I have talked about, when they get some posts in there, oh man, that's I can't even fathom what that team's going to look like next year. But we're just talking about this year. It's nice to see her begin her career at Arkansas, kind of pick it up where she left off at Oklahoma, and putting in a gear that most players just don't have. It's fun to watch for me, for the fans, and I know it's fun to watch for you.
When you look at this team going forward, the SEC tournament starts next week in South Carolina, but with the reemergence of Alexis Tollfree, thought Alexis had the energy, and it seemed to be real fun for her on Sunday as we had her from media availability with that baller, Chelsea Dungy. Talk about this team, when you get Alexis, there's IT coming back, and now with the reemergence of senior off the bench, Raven Northcross Baker to go along with Bailey Zimmerman. Taylor's been playing quite well. Kiera, how dangerous can this team be when they get to the SEC tournament? They played a lot of tough ball games throughout the conference, so I think they'll believe that they can play. But is this a dangerous team, Andrew, in your opinion, once they get to the SEC women's tournament?
I think that they have the potential to be a dangerous team. I mean, you just talked about Toll-Free. Fact of the matter is, Toll-Free is going to have to just be at her best at all times, because I think she starts, when she makes a mistake or two.
Right.
And when that happens, it tanks her whole game. And if she misses one or two shots, that's going to be the game. She doesn't usually recover from that point. So if she can come out, hit a couple threes in the first quarter of games, you never know. I mean, you looked at this game with Ole Miss. She's playing really good basketball, and you saw what that amounted to. They were able to get a nice win over Ole Miss. They did beat them earlier in the season. But with the posts, basically they don't need to try to do something more than what they do. Taylor Thomas just needs to run the court and get transition baskets. Kiera needs to get rebounds when she can and get scores if people are just sagging off of her to try to guard other players and be in position to play help defense. So they just need to be who they are. The dangerous element of it is Malika and Chelsea, Golden coming off the bench, your scores that everybody already knows. There's not, a secret weapon on this team, I don't think, other than Alexis. They just got to be who they are. And if they do that, then they have a chance to beat pretty much anybody in the SEC.
Baking soda is Jalen Mason. That's my nickname I give her. She seems to be that one guard that just fixes everything, both on the offensive and defensive ends. How key will she be going forward for the duration of the season?
Oh, she'll be paramount to their success. Fact of the matter is, she's one of the more experienced players on the team. She's had great games throughout her career at Arkansas, especially early in her career when she had to have them, when there was no other offensive players on the team. And I think this season has just been one of those deals where it's up and down for her. So if she, people almost forget about her when you bring in people like Chelsea and Malik has been here and things of that nature. If she can just, I guess, maybe really seriously be the third or fourth scoring option. And by serious, I mean when you look at the scorecard after the game, not see her with like 7 points or something. See her actually put up some scoring numbers in a well-balanced effort. Yeah, I mean, she could play a really big role in Arkansas' success if it's going to have success in the SEC tournament.
Talking with Andrew Epperson, contributing writer to the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Also, too, Andrew covers a lot of high school sports in the Northwest Arkansas area, in particular 3 and 4A basketball. Andrew, we start regional in the area for those classifications. Talk about some of the teams in the area that maybe some of our listeners and viewers might want to get out and check out during this important time, which is tournament time in the month of March.
Well, there are a lot of good teams up here that people just kind of forget about. There's no question about that. I really thought that Elkins was going to go somewhere in the 3A tournament, but unfortunately they got matched up there with Baptist Prep. They changed their name down there. I still can't do that. That's weird. I thought that they were going to have a really good show on Chad Graham and some of those guys. They ended up getting bounced pretty early. Charleston, Mayflower, they play 27th today. They play today. So Charleston, that's a pretty good ball club. They got some shooters all over the court for them.
Yes, they do.
I think that they do. And I think that the thing about it here in Northwest Arkansas, some of these teams, it's almost like a kind of a magnified version of what's happening with basketball in general. Teams are moving to the three-point shot, spreading the floor, having true, stretch 4 players on their teams, and they shoot so many threes. It has to be a record number of threes for high school this year. So if you just want to go out and see some teams that kind of represent what's happening with basketball overall, look no further than these Northwest Arkansas teams, even if they don't end up winning state. There's some really good teams throughout the rest of Arkansas. I haven't even had a chance to cover this year. So we'll see.
One team in particular I think you had a chance to get out to was P Ridge, both the boys and girls. Talk about their opportunities and, just how far can both those ball clubs go in the 4A journey?
So P Ridge has, their best player is Nick Coble. That guy is, if I had to compare somebody to Kobe Bryant on a high school level, that's what this guy is. He's going to take the elbow jump shots. He's going to spread the floor by getting in the post and doing little fadeaway stuff that I could have never done in high school. I could barely tie my shoes in high school. And so when you have a player like that and then you put a bunch of shooters around him, which is what P Ridge does, Like when I was just talking about how teams are moving to the 3-point, look no further than P. Ridge. They do that for the boys and the girls. They're trying to hit threes, run people up, and demoralize them before they can make a comeback later in games. And they've won a couple of really close games, too, that they've just been able to claw and battle through experience. Right. So P. Ridge, for the boys and the girls side of things, don't be shocked if they're one of those Northwest Arkansas teams that actually go pretty far in this tournament.
Real quick, got about a minute and a half, Andrew. You and I were made available with Chad Morris on Monday, in preparation for spring football. And sitting into Coach Mo's PC, what were your takes heading into spring football, in your opinion?
Well, it seemed like he was more confident in being honest in the press conference this time around than last year. I thought last year it was a lot of spin, if I'm being honest. That's just kind of how it was the whole season, where if you don't spin it, I mean, shoot, you're just going to be answering questions about the negative all the time. I don't think that people necessarily owe the press anything, so I can't look at that and just say, oh, Chad should have done this, should have done that. I mean,
good point.
He's not our little puppet, so he's going to say what he's going to say. But, for us, I thought it was better because it seemed like he wasn't taking political answers with every single question this time.
Right.
Whenever he was asked about the quarterbacks, he didn't try to avert it. He didn't try to come out and say, well, quarterback position, hey, everybody's open for it.
Absolutely.
Everybody's open for the position. So it's like, well, we know that's not true, and people who are watching this know that's not true. But you can say what you want to say.
Great point.
So I was just my biggest takeaway was that it seemed like he had a little bit more confidence to be open and honest with the media this time around, and hopefully that's a precedent that gets set for the entire season.
Well, as always, my man, love the insight. We'll talk next week, but I know you're feeling a little ill. I was supposed to be at the 6A event, but I hope you get you feeling better, and we'll catch up tomorrow. And as always, Drew, thanks for taking time out here on OTH, my man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Pat. Appreciate you.
That was Andrew Epperson, contributing writer to the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. Andrew covers the women's beat for us here at the University of Arkansas on OTH, and also too covers a lot of high school 4A and 3A men's and women's athletics for us as well, as they are in regional tournament, state tournament. It's all going on, Demetrius. I mean, everything is going on. We got football coming up on Monday or Friday, spring ball. What you got to say about that? Spring football, your sport, home guy, is finally here. For all listeners, he's the best producer, but I get the most out of him during football season. Is that your sport home guy?
Yeah, you already know. That's where I really gained my Arkansas ties, just walking on with the team. But I'm really excited for this year. I think really we're going to see more of Chad Morris's identity and where we see him really projected going in the future. We were talking offline about just how many years Morris is really going to possibly have before, people really start calling for his name. I think this year will ease a little people's minds this year. I think you're really going to see more of the process that he has really come to fruition.
Before we get out of here, I want to make a note for Coach Mo. Demetrius, he did it again. Coach Mo is bringing Mo recruits as Jamie Vance, Greedy Vance, a 4-star, some say 3-star. I'll say great football player, former teammate of Arkansas early enrollee Devin Bush from Edna Carr High School in New Orleans, chief recruiters and major contributors to this big-time pickup. Greedy made his unofficial visit to the Hill over the weekend, and all credit goes to Ron Cooper, Mark Smith, and Chad Morris, John Chavis, and just the Arkansas program for the type of kids, Demetrius, that they're starting to bring to the Hill. And if he continues, he said in his press conference, they're going to continue to bring him at a high level each and every year to the university. But that's going to wrap it up. I want to give a thank you to sports editor for coming on and joining us, Chip Salza of the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, talking girls and boys 6A state tournament as the state tournament takes place at Bentonville West High School. If you want to get out and check it out, a lot of talent. I'm telling you, a lot of D1 talent. You'll be seeing these ladies and gentlemen on multiple television stations across the country. And also, too, Andrew Epperson, contributing writer for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette. He gave us the lowdown on the neighborhood, and also 3A and 4A women's and men's basketball. And also, too, want to give a thank to my producer, co-host, Demetrius. We call him Demigod. I'll call him Home Guy Johnson. And lastly, our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates with the office location in Fayetteville. Also, too, an office location in Rogers. The Baymont Hotel, located at 735 South Shiloh Drive. Locomotion, just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall. And our newest sponsor, Corey Beck's Custom Painting. Until tomorrow, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins on KDSJ 479. You guys have a blessed one.